So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
Yeah, it is. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Free for All Friday. Yeah, it is. Today is July 13th, which means one of two things. Well, it doesn't mean one of two things. It means it's July 13th, which just happens to be a Friday. Yeah, it is. It's Friday the 13th. Anyway, don't worry. We don't have any black cats around here or ladders or any weird things like that. Just so you know. Yes, you can share now. Thanks, Melanie, for asking. By the way, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming into the show. I hope that you enjoy our show today. As you guys know, for some reason, Free for All Friday seems to be the funnest show of the week. Probably because it's Free for All Friday. And today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about 3 modern deceptions of preachers of the day, based on scripture. Actually, I was reading today in 1 Thessalonians. I'm going to share with you something in there that just leapt out at me. It was like, I was like, ah. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't get scared. But I read it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so prevalent on Periscope and other social media platforms where all these people who say they're Christians are marketing themselves and calling themselves stuff and blah blah. Anyway, we'll share with you what this has to say. So if you have a Bible, go get it, because we're going to look at chapter 2 of 1 Thessalonians for a couple minutes, and then we're going to take your questions and your comments. We're going to try to anyway. Yeah, we are. So I'm going to hand it over to Bareface while I go ahead and share this out, and then we'll say hi to some of you. Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to get on there, right?
I am.
Put your handsome, hunky face up there.
I hadn't planned on it.
You haven't planned on it. You're the co-host on Friday.
Well, I'm busy too, you know.
Oh, you are? That's true. Well, then...
I'm still setting things up over here and queuing things up, so...
Well, then never mind. Oops.
Well, alright. Alright, so... It is what it is.
You see how hard it is being married to this guy?
I can only imagine. I know what it's like to live with me 24/7, even while I sleep.
Wait, hold on a second.
I get how hard it is.
Wait. All right, people. That's right. I really wanted to play a different song, but I was afraid if I did, Facebook would let go. You know, avoid Robinson, it wouldn't do it. Danger Will Robinson is actually what I meant to say. And most of you are old enough to know where that comes from. Okay, quick quiz. Danger Will Robinson, what TV show is that from? Don't say it, Bareface. Let's see how many smart people we have in our audience. And Alice and Denise are on Facebook. Thank you guys for coming in. And then I see here Rex No Feet, Oddbar is in there, Diane, Stephen, Melanie, Patriots United, and my superhero friend Mia. Yeah, she is. I'm sure she'll be in a minute, but she's like stoked. So she's had a super good day. All right,
we had a few seconds of streaming issues in there.
We did.
Web issues, I guess, and hopefully we'll be on track soon here. Yeah, it seems like. All right,
we look good. Yeah.
All right. Well, we know there's a delay. Anyway.
All right. So Alice said Lost in Space. Yep. And so did Melanie. So you guys are both right. Yes, Lost in Space was the name of the show. Thank you for reminding me, because I had completely forgotten the name of the show. All I could see was the UFO. And that old guy for some reason I want to call him Rex. I don't even know if that's right. No, it's because of Rex No Feet. That came into my thing. It echoed a little. That's what Alice said. That's all right.
Dr. Smith?
I don't know. I mean,
Dr.
I was
Zachary Smith?
just a mere child when Lost in Space was on.
Trying to think of the actor's name that played Dr. Zachary Smith. But,
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even remember. I mean, I barely remember the show. I couldn't even remember the name of the show. That's why I asked you guys. See, you thought I was just doing a trivia question. But Dr. Smith is what Melanie said.
Yep.
And there's Mia. Hey, Mia, congratulations. So Mia's been she's a paramedic. She's a superhero. I always call her a superhero because she's a life flight paramedic. She's the one that gave us our little mascot, Luke, the little bear that they give to kids. Anyway, she's been taking a test, and we're so happy for her that she passed her test. She passed it. This is awesome because do you know how hard it is to pass a test on medical stuff? You would not want me to operate on you or do anything with you. But Mia, she's done all these really super cool things. So, yeah. Okay, now it shows live video has been interrupted on Facebook. And it says lost connection, trying to reconnect on Periscope. This is what Melanie said. We're back. Okay. And there's Mia. Hey. Oops, there we go. Okay. So, yes, it looks like we're having slight internet issues. But I'm going to go ahead and refresh here.
But fortunately, we are recording, so in worst case, we can replace the video on Facebook if it turns out to be not so cool.
This shouldn't be the case with our new internet service, though, right?
Well, you never know. I mean, there could be something happening in the area. It shows that we're not streaming it at all right now.
Oh, now we're back.
Yeah, so it seems to be going in and out.
Okay, so it's probably the storm that's about ready to hit where we're at.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll go with it. Like I say, we've got a local recording. Not that it'll help Periscope at all. But we can always replace video on Facebook and YouTube with the local recording.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. All right. Okay, so as you guys know, this week we've been reading through 1 Thessalonians. And so today the title of the show is let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and share this out. The title of the show is 3 Deceptions of Modern Day Preachers. I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Let's see. Modern. Okay, there we go. And all right, there we go. Okay, put a 1 in Periscope or something on Facebook too, just to make sure that you guys can see us and hear us. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I've been reading through 1 Thessalonians. There's a lot in this book, right, you guys? This is a book that Paul wrote. Paul, Silas, and Timothy, they wrote this. Well, it's mostly Paul, but anyway, the 3 of them were writing to the little church of Thessalonica that Paul founded during a time of persecution. He was actually kicked out, basically. Well, he left. Let's just say that, and he lived under persecution. And anyway, so there's a lot of interesting things in this here, about this And yeah, if you're having problems on Periscope, go over to Facebook. It might be just as bad. But you could go to YouTube, but I'm not sure how it is on YouTube. But we'll try not to get too distracted with that. Okay, so in chapter 2 of this book, I'm just going to begin in the beginning of it and then stop where I want to comment. Okay. So it says here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, Paul writes, "For you yourselves know, brethren, that our coming to you was not in vain. But after we had already suffered and been mistreated in Philippi, as you know, we had the boldness in our God to speak to you the gospel of God amid much opposition." And you got to think about that just for a minute. Here they were persecuted for their faith, and a lot of people think that if you're persecuted for your faith, you're just going to shut up, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole idea of persecution, is to get you to shut up and not actually, do your faith, right? But really, persecution of the church has usually the exact opposite effect. Usually it makes people more bold in their faith, as you see here. Verse 3, "For our exhortation does not come from error or impurity or by way of deceit, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, So we speak, not as pleasing men, but God who examines our hearts. And that's a big lesson right there for all believers here. First of all, we've been approved by God. You know, he talks about how he was approved by God. If you're an ambassador for Christ, you've been approved by God. Because we're entrusted with the gospel. That's a huge calling, in case you didn't know that. And when we're entrusted with the gospel, our goal isn't to please men, but it's to please God, who examines our hearts. And this is the thing, right? So I listed, there's 3 deceptions, right? So 3 deceptions of modern day preachers. Paul, who wrote this a long time ago, lays them out, even how it is today. So he says this, "For we never came with flattering speech, as you know, nor with a pretext for greed, God is witness, nor did we seek glory from men, either from you or from others, even though as apostles of Christ we might have asserted our authority." All right, so as my friend Laura Royer would say, let's unpack this just a little bit, because there's a lot in here. And when I was reading this morning, I was like, wow, you know, this is really, really, really pretty amazing. So it's interesting that all the things that Paul could have talked about, what he did was he listed these things. So first thing he says is, "For we never came with flattering speech, as you know." So flattering speech, just, you know, I don't know about you, but there's quite a few people out there who say that they're Christians, they follow Jesus, but all they do is they flatter people. I don't know. Have you ever been on the receiving end of flattery? I can tell you I have. And it's so funny to me because it's so completely transparent. At least to me it is. It's like, "Oh, I love you and you're the greatest Bible teacher in the world and you're blah blah, etc." And I'm just like crazy. And you know what, frankly, a lot of these preachers and teachers out there who have these big huge mega churches, and I'm not saying all mega churches are, you know, false teachers lead them, but what I am saying is that in a lot of these big huge mega prosperity gospel type churches, you have these leaders who that's what they do. They flatter, they butter up, they kiss up, they smooth talk, you know, it's sap. I don't know another word to say, but that's what it is. They look at their church and they see a dollar sign, and you know what everything that they want, they just like, "Hey, yeah, you know, if you go ahead and you do this, then you'll get this." And you know, and these are the same type of hucksters that also will have events, and then they'll have people pay $10,000 to come and hear them speak, or $5,000, or they'll sell their picture, you know, with their name on it, or whatever, and they'll give you some stupid thing, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got it," you know, and I just am amazed myself at how easy it is to get people to fall for that stuff. And, you know, of all people to be writing this, Paul, the apostle, had, you know, he had probably the vocabulary that surpassed a ton of people. This guy was a highly educated guy, and he was brilliant, actually. And it's interesting to me that the very first thing he says is, "We never came to you with flattering speech, as you know, or with a pretext for greed." Now, that's interesting that he would mention speech and greed, because greed is an issue. It's a huge issue. I mean, here in America, I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen that TV show, American Greed, but you know, and Tom Cruise, I think it was one of his no, it wasn't that. It was Donald Trump, of all people. You know, at the beginning of his old show, The Apprentice, it wasn't part of that, the opening song, "Money, Money, Money, Money." Is that right, Randall? Is that the right show? Money, 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 money. You know, and I mean,
don't know if that's
not that Donald Trump is greedy, but just saying, he's a rich guy and lots of people are greedy. And, you know, And anyway, and so Paul didn't come with a pretext for greed, but I can tell you there's a lot of modern day pastors today that's all they care about is money. That's all they want is money. And they don't they don't care about anything else, you guys. You guys can see when the Holy Spirit's keeping my tongue in check, right? Yeah, anyway. So there's that. And then, and it says, nor did we seek glory from men. Okay, so now I don't know about you, but I do find it interesting. Flattering speech, greed, and glory from men. Those are the three things that if you actually look and examine at the false teachers of the day or the very popular people of the day, that people don't think are false teachers, but they really are. These are three good, massive, like total characteristics of these people. They love everybody. They look super slick. They always have a handout for, a buck, and, they're trying to get glory from men. And, it's interesting to me because then Paul ends this in verse 6 by saying, but even though as apostles of Christ, we might have asserted our authority. What's interesting to me about that is that when Paul spoke, I'm pretty sure he was like E.F. Hutton. People listened, right? When he spoke, everybody, went ahead and paid attention. And he did. I'm pretty sure he spoke with authority, just like Jesus did. And what happened to both of them, right? They both got persecuted for it. I
wouldn't say just like Jesus, but
yeah, I don't know. So
certainly with authority.
What do you think about these verses?
Well, I think you're doing a great exegetical, great exegesis here, and it's.
I am.
Yeah, and it's spot on. And
I feel good about myself now.
When we look at words of flattery, that's
How do I know that's not? How do I know you're not trying to flatter me right now, Harp?
But the idea of flattering the Greek, and I'm trying to think of the word off the top of my head, but I can't.
Because you have a Greek lexicon in your head.
No, I don't.
Okay. We're just looking up in Blue Letter Bible.
I'm looking at it now.
Okay, he's looking it up right now. Just so you know, it's not like he's that smart. It's what is it?
Kolakeos or
Kolakeos.
Anyway, the idea of it is flattery, but with the motivation to gain. Well, flattery usually is that way. It's not just, sometimes it can just be flattery just to make somebody feel good. But the idea of this word is flattery for, to get something out of it, butter you up for something to, fleece your pockets or whatever. But, I look at all three of these things, the words of flattery, the pretext for greed, pretense for greed, and then seeking glory. It's all very self-focused. The preacher is not a shepherd; it's the one. What's in it for me? And it may be even the gospel, but the motive with which it's presented is personal gain, flattery for gain, pretext for greed, what else I can get out of you, and then looking for glory from men. And look at this, and like you say, it describes a lot of the modern day church activity we see, where they don't want to talk about sin. That doesn't make people feel good. We're going to talk about their best life now or whatever, and the power and the feel goods and singing our love songs. Yes, Jesus loves us, but some of these very romantic songs about how Jesus loves me and how I love him, and we've got just this sort of like never-ending love fest, and that's partially true, but there's the whole part about sanctification is missing. So there's that, and then there's the pretext for greed. about, hey, we just talked. We had Julie Roy's on.
Yep.
Talk about greed there. $1 million condo and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what's funny to me about that is we have a listener who's been telling us once he gets a job, he'll donate to us. He actually said, and you know who you are, scoundrel. He actually said that he would do that, and has he? No. But he has donated to Moody numerous times, apparently, and after seeing the show, he's like, I ain't donating to Moody anymore. And I'm like, yeah, and when are you going to actually donate to us, huh? Because you've been listening to us for well over a decade, buddy. You know who you are.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. I just had to say that because it's just a perfect example. When Randall and I actually were talking about this. Go ahead. Go on.
Anyway, so whether it's the so whether it's the flattering speech to tell you just how great you are, and there's no accountability, for sanctification, just it's all love and everything's good now, and accepted just as you are and no need to change, down to the I'm taking this message on tour with the lights and everything so I can sell more books, and I look at that and think, well, scoundrels, posers in the pulpit, but whose fault is it really? I think of 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3, Paul says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts they shall heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. And so it's also the power of the flock. If the flock's getting fleeced, it's because they'd rather listen than look, when they should be checking the book.
Ooh, listen and look instead of checking the book.
That's from Steve Taylor.
Oh.
Guilty by Association?
The song. He's really good, by the way. Actually, Steve Taylor's... No, I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind.
You should be checking the book. You'd rather listen than look.
Yeah.
What temptation? Guilty by association. Anyway.
Right.
So... and that's what happens when you have a biblically illiterate flock, that's out for the experience. Well, they'll get one. They'll get one by... wolves in sheep's clothing, false shepherds that are more than happy to entertain them and take their money for the entertainment.
Yeah. Well, so, what was funny was we were talking, Randall and I were talking, because we do that. I'm with him every day, pretty much, for the last 28 years. But, we were talking about how I know a lot of ministries. I know a lot of people in little ministries, okay? And when I say little, I mean a ministry that makes under $1 million, right? Now, Ariel Ministries actually is a little ministry. And, it's interesting to me that they don't have the marketing plan or the cash, I'll just say it that way, of, let's say, Jews for Jesus, right? They're similar ministries. They're messianic. They reach out to, their goals are to minister to the Jewish people, messianic to the Jews. And yeah, Ariel Ministries for the last couple of years, it's actually been really over 2 years. They've been sponsoring our show for 2 years, but I worked for them for a couple of years, also doing social media for them before them. But for the last 2 years, they've sponsored us, a little ministry. I mean, it's me and Bareface. That's it. Okay. So they've actually sponsored us. We do deliver a product to you, which is what they ask us to share with you. But that little ministry has invested in us, and they're not, let's say, they're not Jews for Jesus, which has a massive marketing thing, and everybody knows usually about Jews for Jesus, but very few people know about Ariel Ministries in comparison, right?
They do a lot with little.
They do. And, and it's interesting because what we've noticed, though, among the little ministries that I know, other people because trust me, I know a lot of people that run a lot of different ministries, and everybody's always whining to me about how they don't make any money. And I laugh because I'm like, really? Because I read your thing and you made a couple million or a 500,000. And I made 10,000, I think it was, something like that. So don't tell me you don't make any money compared to me. So, because, but I look at that and I only bring that up, not because I'm complaining about the lack of money, but because what I'm telling you is it's the people that are actually delivering the real gospel that are really struggling for money. And they wouldn't be if you actually if you know anything about church growth and just giving within the actual church itself, how many people who go to a church who actually tithe and give to the church, it is so minuscule what members of these churches give in comparison to what they could give. And it's sad because it just seems to be a mark of those who present the actual gospel. And I just found it really interesting this morning as I was reading this in First Thessalonians, is where the Lord has got me to teach me some new stuff, that I saw that. And I'm like, yeah, because those of you who come into our show all the time, you will see often people who come in and if for whatever reason, they might sit in for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, and then we'll do our sponsored, right? And then they'll accuse us and attack us for all we want is money. And yet then there's other people on Periscope, the false prophets, the ones that are actually calling themselves a prophet or apostle or prophetess or whatever. And they're actually putting out some type of program begging for $1,000 donation or a $3,000 donation. I've seen it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And people give it to them. In fact, there's other scoundrels who are currently on Periscope who are offering business services, not providing it. And there have been previous scoundrels on Periscope who fleeced numerous people. And they're no longer on Periscope for obvious reasons because they're like, see ya, we're out of here. But they told people what they wanted to hear. They didn't necessarily tell them the truth. And I just think it's interesting that Paul, despite, what he did, as far as, the church, he did not come with the pretense of greed. He didn't flatter. And he wasn't out to be in the graces of men, be in the good graces of men. And frankly, I think that's how we all need to be. He cared more about what the Lord thought about him and served Christ despite what mankind wanted, right? And he ended up persecuted, beaten, flogged in jail numerous times for his faith. And that is really, honestly, the face of Christianity. In America, we are so cushy, but all over the world, Christians are being persecuted. Christians are the number one persecuted faith in the world. And, real Christians all over the world are being persecuted. They don't have a lot of money, and many of them are in jail. They're being beaten for their faith, imprisoned. They're being ripped off by their employees. They're being set up. I have friends that I happen to know in other countries that have gone to jail for their faith because they actually dare speak out the actual gospel. And of course, they don't have any money. They need to have some legal profession step up and actually help them with their fees because, where's the wealth and prosperity gospel teachers, helping them out, right? They have attorneys, but their attorneys are to secure money to continue to promote thoughts. I think I'm not sure what the problem is.
Definitely some streaming issues, but it's interesting to see there in that passage in First Thessalonians chapter 2, where Paul says all the things that they didn't do, all the ways they did not present themselves. He talks about how they did present themselves. And that is in verse 7. He says, "But we prove to be gentle among you, as a nursing mother tenderly cares for her own children.
Yep.
Having so fond an affection for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you had become very dear to us. Might as well take verse 9 and 10. For you recall, brethren, our labor and hardship, how working night and day so as not to be a burden to any of you, we proclaim to you the gospel of God. You are witnesses, and so is God, how devoutly and uprightly and blamelessly we behave towards you believers, just as you know how we were exhorting, encouraging, imploring each one of you as a father would his own children, so that you would walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. And I thought of your shepherd, your pastor, those people who lead. Is it about their glory? Is it all about, buy my book, fulfill my vision, and, sell your soul for this congregation that we might, build this big building and, do whatever else? Or are they concerned about you? Or is it, instead of being about them, selfish, it's selfless, pouring them lives into you? Not just that you feel good and feel better, but so that you would walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. Yes. That, a real shepherd, a real pastor who brings the gospel.
And there's a lot of them out there, they just don't get the...
Well, of course not.
They don't get the thing. Somebody in the chat room said something to the effect of, it sounds like you guys like to listen to the sound of your own voice more than money. Oh, wait, I'm not really sure about that part. To which I say, apparently you haven't listened long enough to the show. I don't do this for the money. I don't. I actually have 4 income streams doing various other things, and that
add up to something.
That add up to a little bit of money. It's funny, but it's funny because, and I do that just like Paul. And this is the thing that Randall and we were talking about. We were talking about Paul, how he Paul had every right. He could all that. And honestly, godly people give. That's the truth. Godly people give. True godly people actually give, right? I mean, let's just face it. Actual godly people give. Okay? In some way. I'm not saying it's always money, but they give, right? And real godly people, you would think, would want to support, like the Apostle Paul, just as an example. But, he was like, nope, I'm going to go make some tents. And I would have personally loved to have seen the tents he made, just because, that was his side gig, right? That was his side gig. So, yeah, honestly, I'm having lots of fun. So, I cannot believe it's almost it's 4:36 already. Dang, today's going by fast. All right, so we did mention Ariel, but if you don't know, we do have a free Bible study from them, and it is the Ministries of the Holy Spirit. You can get this month. If you're brand new and you don't have it yet, you should go get it.
Let me bring that up. I was expecting you to say something different, so.
Oh, you were.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's do it this way. BibleNewsRadio.com to the resources page.
Okay. Yeah, so go there. We'll study that Ariel's giving you for free, because it's actually a paid study. So how many of you have gotten it anyway? If you're watching the archive of this, let me know, okay? Put a comment, send me an email. Let me know if you're taking part in some of the downloads, because I know previous studies you have. And this one is a really good one, Ministry of the Holy Spirit.
Ministries of the Holy Spirit.
There you go. And don't forget, you can save 20% when you use the coupon code Bible News, depending on how you want to say it. Yeah. All right.
Well, I can't spell, so I can't spell when I type.
A lot of people say coupon instead of coupon. It's one of those words that people can get away with saying wrong, like Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is really how you pronounce Dr. Seuss's name, but everybody always pronounce it Dr. Seuss. And if I was Dr. Seuss, I'd be very annoyed because my name is pronounced Dr. Seuss. Anyway, long story short.
And that's a pen name anyways.
Yeah. So.
It's Theodore Geisel. So.
Well, what name would you go by? One that everybody mispronounced, or one that one could?
Anyway.
It doesn't matter.
And I could have put myself on screen when I said that, but it doesn't matter anyway.
Anyway, the other thing, don't forget to follow us on Bullhorn. GetBullhorn.com. We are going to be putting the show up on that platform in audio form as soon as I can figure out well, as soon as we can, because, just saying. So this is an audio platform. You can actually do your own broadcast on there. You can make little groups and stuff, and Bullhorn is awesome. So if you have not joined us on GetBullhorn.com, then go to GetBullhorn.com and do it. Steven is on there, and he's been doing some stuff. He's a powerful little preacher. Yeah, you are. And anyway, so check that out. Okay, so GetBullhorn.com. And what was the other thing we were going to talk about? Legal Shield. Actually, why don't we talk about that article that I sent you earlier today. Yeah, we did. I sent him an article earlier today.
Today?
I think I did. I'm looking. Wait, hold on. Shoot. Nope. That's the wrong person. It's about Demi Moore. Did I send that to you? You sent me the puppy video.
I didn't.
I guess I didn't send it to you. Well, that's okay. It's over on my Stacy Lynn Harp MS Facebook page. I'll just scroll over there and look at it. By the way, now when you go to my Stacy Lynn Harp MS Facebook page, it says Stacy Lynn Harp MS Legal Shield Independent Associate, because that's how Legal Shield wants us to put up our pages as Legal Shield Independent Associates, to make sure everybody knows that that's what we are. So that's the social media policy in case you notice the change. But anyway, so today there was an article out in Forbes magazine, or Forbes online, and if you want, Randall, I can send it to you.
I've got it.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. It's called To Catch a Thief: Lessons We Can All Learn from Demi Moore's Identity Theft Drama. Now, I thought this was good. It says here the Identity Theft Resource Center found that 27 credit card fraud increased by 23% over the prior year. Now, let me ask you something. Why do you think it's increased? I think it's increased because of greed. That's why I think it's increased. Further, it is important to check your credit report annually for any errors and inconsistencies. I would actually say you should check your credit report more than once a year, because a lot can happen in that year.
It's just you can do it for free.
You can do it for free.
For most of the
says the recent film Ocean's 8 is the story of a group of thieves that steal a priceless necklace from a famous movie actress in plain sight. Kind of like to after watching the trailer. Yeah. In an example of life imitating art, actress Demi Moore was the recent victim of credit card theft of more than $169,000. As in the movie, the heist involved a series of cons, including the thief reporting Moore had lost her American Express credit card, intercepting the new card before it was delivered, and engaging in lavish shopping sprees at luxury stores. Is that her experience is all too uncommon. Credit card fraud is now the most prevalent identity theft facing all Americans. Okay, you hear that? Credit card fraud is now the most prevalent identity theft facing all Americans. The Identity Theft Resource Center found that in 2017, I know I already said this, but it's in the article again, that credit card fraud increased by 23% over the prior year with $16 billion unrecovered. That caught my attention when I saw that. So $16 billion is still out there. These scoundrels got away with. That's a lot of money. Anyway, the article says we are all vulnerable, even movie stars. Fortunately, Moore had taken certain precautions in setting up her finances that provided greater protection of her money. Here are some things that could help you. Number one, the type of card matters. I'm not going to read this, in its entirety, but, the gist here is that if you're going to shop online, shop with a credit card, not a debit card. Because the debit card, if somebody gets it, they can wipe out what's in your bank account. Okay, so always use a credit card. Monitoring your transactions, that's a given. You should do that. I mean, I was in my bank account today. I'm usually in there every day. And I saw a charge in there that I was like, wonder where that came from. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to look in a couple of days. I'm going to see if it's still there or if it's resolved itself. Because sometimes they do weird things and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that was for. But you should definitely monitor what's going on in your bank account. Also, just essentially be proactive, right? Most credit card fraud, they have protection, which is a good thing. Your bank's going to call you, hopefully, and let you know something different has happened because they're monitoring it. But not all identity theft and credit card fraud, is tied to identity theft. Identity theft is literally when they take more than your credit card number. And in a lot of cases, they don't even need your credit card to steal your identity. They can take your social security number, your passport, your driver's license number, your address, still use checks. A lot of old people still use checks. There's a lot of different ways people can steal your identity.
And then establish a whole new line of credit in your name, which you wouldn't know for a long time.
Nope, you don't want that. My nose itches. So yeah, be careful. Just be careful. So, and obviously, I have to tell you that I have to say this. I just got a message in my Stacy Lynn Harp account, and it's from my friend Rob, who is a former retired baseball player for Seattle Mariners. He said, I fully endorse Stacy Lynn Harp and Legal Shield. Cut, paste, post. I will send you more to post later. There you go, right there. He's going to be a client pretty soon. But anyway, and you know what? I should just share this too and then let Randall, share a story or something. If you're looking for extra income, and normally I wouldn't even say this to you guys. I really wouldn't even bother bringing it up. But honestly, if you're looking to build some side income, I'm going to tell you something. Legal Shield has an awesome training program. They mentor you. They provide stuff for you to help you learn how to sell the insurance that it is. The product sells itself. It really does. And I'll tell you this, it's $99 to become an associate to begin to sell it. That's it. That's it. You don't get it. There's no renewal every year. That's it. It's $99 to join to sell it. And I'm going to tell you something. I've already made back that and a lot more in the almost 2 months I've been selling it. Granted, I have invested money. I've spent a couple $100 investing in different tools and things, but to just initially get in, if you do the work and you want to be mentored and you want to be a part of a team and a group of people who are actually motivated to go out there and make a difference with the mission of Legal Shield, talk to me because I'd love to have you on my team. And if you're on my, Terry Fitch, who's Vicky's husband, has been, Terry and Zach have been mentoring me on the phone and they've been pouring into me. And, how I'm like, what? Last night I'm calling Terry, this happened. Within a few minutes, he's like, it's okay. Don't worry. So if you're going to join Legal Shield as an associate, you're not going to join, like if you join Avon or Mary Kay or, some other company, they're like, hey, here's your product, go buy 100 of them and then try to sell it, or buy your campaign books and try to, go out and do that. I've done that. It's not fun. And the return on doing all that is this much. It's not much. The return with Legal Shield is way bigger, and it's just an awesome product. So I'm just saying, if you want a side gig, and you're serious, contact me and I'll get you signed up as an associate, and then we'll work together and help you make some money. True story. So, yeah. And I'm just telling you that, I don't know, maybe it's just because of who I am. I'm always in development and trying to lead and, and just love to learn and grow and encourage other people. And this is a company that actually pays you to develop yourself. It really does. So anyway, just throw that out. Do the work. If you don't work, you don't get paid, right? I mean, that's the truth.
You're working it.
I am. I'm doing the steps, So, yeah, one of
baby steps to the phone.
Well, no, I think, 3 years of being mentored by Vicky has definitely helped. I mean, and, one of the things Vicky taught me a long time ago was, and she said this numerous times on her scope, if you actually listen to her and do what she says, you're going to make money. But she'll say, that selling is providing enough information for people to make an informed decision. And that's really the truth. If somebody wants your product and they need your service, give them enough info to make an informed decision. Then it's up to them if they want to invest or not.
Yeah, that's real sales. There are frauds going out there where people, flatter and
kind of like
have a pretext, for greed and
it's
bamboozle people to get money out of them. But that's fraud. That's not genuine sales.
If you guys have already signed up with me, just so you know, I did things that was not recommended to me. I did things that I would have wanted people to do with me. Right? Like with the perks alone, right? Randall and I, we have been sleeping on a very old mattress for a long time. Randall in the last year has been going, when we moved here to Tennessee, our first goal was to get a new mattress.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago.
That was 5 years ago, right?
5 years ago, and it's got to be... Well, we're coming up on 26 years of marriage.
I know.
So that's got to be...
The bed's probably over 20 years old.
I think
it's at least 20 years old.
At least 20.
It's that. So, long story short, we have needed to get a new mattress for a very long time. And Randall only recently has really been complaining about it. Like, man, I'm hurting. This sucks, It's
permanently indented.
And so last night I was in my Legal Shield perks. They update them every day, and I was looking through one, and I'm gonna go check it out. And so we went and checked it out, and we have a California king size bed. So that's a huge bed. I think it's probably the biggest bed they make.
It's the longest. It's actually smaller in area than a king size mattress.
Okay.
It's just. Which is a king size mattress is a big square.
But yours
the California king is longer than
because you're tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is wide. Yeah.
So, but mattresses are not cheap for a bed that big. They're just not.
Yeah, king and Cal King are.
Yeah. Anyway, and long story short, so it's on average it's well over $1,000 to buy a mattress for that size bed. It's actually a couple grand, depending on where you go. Okay. And anyways, last night we were looking at some perks and through the Legal Shield thing, which I didn't know. And we ended up saving 35% on a brand new mattress. A brand new mattress that cost us under $700. Okay?
Well under 700.
Well under 700. It was actually closer to 600. But we ended up saving 35% on the total of that mattress because we had Legal Shield and we used our perks. And I'm just sharing this because, just because I want to offer you the opportunity. If you need extra money and you want to work a company that's actually a legit company. And see, here's the thing, other people, and this ties back spiritually too, people will go, well, the gospel isn't real, it's not valid, well, Legal Shield is a fraud company, blah, blah. All you guys, have you read the negative reviews? I'm like, yeah, that's actually what sold me, was the negative reviews, because when I actually listened to what they had, the product and all that, I realized that most of the negative reviews were left by people who really didn't know what they bought, and or they were not informed correctly about the product. And it's like, a company can't stay in business 40 years and be a fraud company. Fraud companies go out of business for 40 years. Yeah, that's a good con for 40 something years, Yeah,
you can buy a screwdriver and then complain all day that it's terrible for driving in nails, but you're trying to use the tool and not the way it was purposed. You don't understand what tool you have.
Yeah.
Before time gets away, we're kind of coming up with...
Our internet is so thrashed today.
It seems pretty stable right now, but...
On Periscope, it seems to be working. Okay, we're back on that, but yeah, we've pretty much lost our audience on Facebook, because...
Yeah,
and there's really nobody in on Periscope right now either.
We'll replace the video. And so you people watching this video on the replay, this is
not
the way it was streamed.
That's right.
You have the uninterrupted version.
If you're still here, it's because you super love us. Yeah. You do.
But I just, I was thinking about going back to what is the antidote here? What is the solution? And came to mind. He says, "Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. Believe me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. How can ye believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from God only? Do not think I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe of my words?" And so what I get out of that, Yeshua himself was saying that, search the scriptures, you have, and this was just the Old Testament. He said, hey, you have that, and if you believe that, you searched it, you understood it, you would received me, would have believed in me, and you would have the eternal life that's being offered. But instead, you religious folks, you're interested in giving honor one to another, and not the honor that comes from God. And that's your thing, and not really looking to please God, but to please yourselves. And
hey, Marty, welcome to the show. See you there.
And so
Diana, Melanie, you're still here. Hardcore supporters of Bible News Radio.
Anyway, just like he said, it's that sentence there that I recalled. I thought, yeah, isn't that like John chapter 5 somewhere? But yeah, he says, "I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me." And, celebrity worship is just the same. In Christendom, it has a sort of religious veneer on it, but yeah, it is what it is, and it ought not to be.
Yep, that's right.
Just saying.
Yeah, live streaming is fun when the internet doesn't work. That's all right. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh, man. Okay. Yes. Okay, next week on the show, we have an interview with somebody. I'm going to tell you who it is. Yes. It's Mark Shaw. He wrote a book called Courage in the Face of Evil. So that will be Wednesday, barring any, cancellation at the last minute next week. So we'll be having that interview next week, and we're also going to, keep looking at the news of the day and various other things too. So for today's show, at the end of today's show, I would like it if you guys would answer this question.
That's my phone.
What is one thing that you have taken away from the show, and or would you like us to actually talk about on the show? I'd like you guys to leave a comment for us so that we can know for the future. Because I think I have a pretty good gauge of what people like, but some days I don't know. It makes it real difficult, like I said, when the internet's crashing and, people are leaving and coming in and out and people can't hear and all that. It's a challenge sometimes. So, I'll just wait for a couple of you. Marty and Diane, if you can answer that. And Melanie, I don't know where Mia went. She left, but we got some sex bots giving us hearts. It's interesting having a sex bot give you a heart. Makes you feel loved. Just saying. Anyway. A Edwards 40 has joined the show. Thank you for that. Glad that you're there.
Quiet.
What are you doing?
I'm closing some unnecessary tabs.
I'm trying to wait for a response. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get one. At least one response. I prefer getting a live response as opposed to waiting afterwards.
Yeah, well, it's been kind of spotty streaming, so I don't...
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yep. See? If we had an interview today, I would probably redo it just because of the internet. But, you know what? I still love the internet. The internet works great when it works. Okay, so Marty says here, you're doing great. Keep going with the current things we don't hear on regular news. You know what? You got it. And, it's interesting. You're not a sex bot. You're not? Really? I don't think you were the one I was talking about, Ross. Let's see. Who was... No, I was talking about the Argo mom and whatever who has a woman in a bikini. Gay agenda gets a ton of hits. People love me talking about that. And I'm always, I mean, I could do a show every day on the gay, agenda.
Activism, yeah.
The gay activism. I choose not to because frankly, I get sick of it. But that's like the number one topic people actually have told me that they like that I talk about. And maybe it's because a lot of people don't talk about it. That could be it. Politics is always huge because, people want to come in and they want to vent. But encouragement and answers in a world that seems to not care so much about the Bible. So also enjoy the interviews with noteworthy believers. Okay. Well, that's good. I have no problem getting an interview. I could do an interview every day if I wanted to. The truth is I don't want to because so much of what I'm pitched is horrible. I'm not going to say what publisher it is, but I was going through the pitches for this one particular publisher. And usually, a couple of years ago, they had a lot of really solid Bible teachers and authors that I was interviewing. I was interviewing their authors. Almost every single author they pitched me, I interviewed. Today, when I was looking at the last 2 months of author interviews they pitched me, I found one out of the lot that it's gotten really bad. So you will probably see, I was doing 3 interviews a week. I'm probably downing that to 1 or 2, if that, depending on what I get pitched. I have a group of friends I like to have come back, and I will, but it's difficult. That's one of the hardest things about doing that in some way, as Christians, or what they're teaching in the books that they're presenting isn't all about them, versus God. So I actually got a pitch today, and I think it was actually the book that I actually did request the interview for, concerning a police officer who decided to walk with the black protesters a number of years ago when there was a big outcry against police shootings of black people. And anyway, this guy's a guy of faith, and anyway, he's paid the price for his faith as a result. But the reason I decided to interview this guy is because his story will resonate with the current issues going on in our culture, and it will be an object lesson of, who I get pitches for all the time, who I could have on the show again. I've already had her on like 3 times, but I could have her on talking about her stuff, but she's not really the core, audience. Our audience isn't like her, really, so there's that. But anyway, we keep trying our best to provide the great people that we do. So, but anyway, all right. So any other questions or comments? You have any, Bareface?
No, ma'am.
Nope. Okay. All right. So are you going to be doing a daily disciple or whatever you're calling it now?
Weekends in the Word. That's the plan.
All right. Weekends in the Word with Wandel Harp. That wascally wabbit. Just saying. Give as God leads you. That's all I'm going to say. You guys can donate over at BibleNewsRadio.com. And if you want Legal Shield or ID Shield, hit me up. I'll tell you more. All right. So have a good weekend. My plans for this weekend, one of them is to throw a little 90th birthday party for my dad, because his birthday is going to be next week. And my brother has the weekend off from work. And so I'm going to be doing that. And tomorrow I'm playing pickleball, in case you care, just so you know. Keep being awesome, and I'll keep coming back and sharing out. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that a lot. All right. Okay, so you guys have a good weekend, and we'll see you when Bareface decides he wants to come on, in his haphazard way. We'll go, surprise! No. So have a good weekend. Remember, be bold, stand up, and go with God, because he loves you. He really does. And we appreciate you coming in and supporting us and listening to what we have to say. Means a lot. Okay, we'll see you later.